I wanted to give you some tips on underpressing because underpressing is so incredibly important. And sorry, just get rid of the steam out of it. This is not quite so noisy. The underpressing of a garment is even more important than top pressing, because if it's not correctly underpressed, you'll never get a really good finish. So underpressing is pressing your seams, your darts, all that kind of thing as soon as you've stitched them. So before the whole garment is actually finished and lined together. So this, I have a lining here and my side seam is ready to press. So I'm going to just show you a couple of key little things that can help make get a better finish. First off, actually press the seam closed flat. Okay. And what that does is that presses the actual seam allowance part nice and flat and neat, in case the overlocking or the zigzag has kind of tightened it in any way. And then open up your seam allowance and press it flat. So literally pop your fingers in through, and then as you actually press, tease open the seam. So to make sure that you're opening it nice and flat. And obviously always test the iron on a sample of fabric first to make sure you've got your heat correct. Okay. And then when you turn that over, press on the right side as well. And now you've got a lovely flat seam. Okay, so just as I say, the key thing with that is, just to kind of reiterate that, press the seam closed first to flatten the seam allowance and make sure it's not tight or puckered in any way. Then open it up, and as you press the seam open, make sure to kind of pull panels apart slightly as you work your way up, and that will ensure that when you turn it over the other side, back onto the right side, that you haven't created a little crease or something actually on your seam. But it's important to press on the wrong side first and then on the right side. Now, bust darts. Bust darts are always a tricky one. Everybody can be inclined to put the panel on the board and then just try and plunk the iron down on top of it. That's never going to work, because you've got a three-dimensional shape here. So you can't just press that flat. You have to press that and include that shape. So actually, the best way to do that is use the curve of the ironing board. So place the end of the dart actually over the curve of the ironing board and then press. And as a result of that, you get a lovely clean press on your bust dart. And again, turn it through to the right side. Do the same thing again. Put the bust dart over the end of the board. So use the shape of the board to fill out that bust dart. Okay? And that's what you end up with. Because if you didn't, I'm just going to do this in the wrong way to show you how not to do it. Like if you're trying to just press that, like, you know, and that's even me going gently, but already you've got kind of ripples and bubbles and things in it, and I wasn't even going too hard. So it's just really important. Use the end of the board to fill out the bust shape. And that just makes it so much easier. Okay, so that was easy to do because I had it out on the flat, but just to kind of show you quickly, this one here is all made up because it has the zip in it. This is actually the lining, this is the fabric part for the lining that I've just done. So it's been actually sewn together, so it's in a circle. So it's important to slide that up the board, okay? Now I'm using a funny little board here so that you can actually see, so it's not allowing me to slide it up properly, but it'll give you the idea. So you slide the garment up onto the board so that you've only got one layer of fabric on the board so that you're not pressing through the front and the back in one go, because obviously you've no idea what you're going to be doing. And again, open your seam as you go. I had already pressed it flat. And then when you flip it over, sliding it up onto the board and press on the right side again. And then you end up with your lovely flat seam. And I'll just show you one more time about the bust dart. So again, any kind of curved dart, but especially the bust dart or a princess seam. This is also a really, really good way to press a princess seam. Use the curve of the board and then press into shape. And then you end up with a lovely, clean, pressed dart.